Very good afternoon, and thanks for clicking on to the Wednesday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. We have reached Hump Day. I hope everybody is safe and well wherever you are. Just wanted to start off today's video by recommending a watch. The deep dive from yesterday by Alex Deacon was a fantastic explanation of the thunderstorms that developed over the southern half of the UK back on Monday. I have to admit, I didn't realise it was quite as stormy as it actually turned out to be. I believe there was 14,000 lightning strikes across the south of Wales, Midlands, southern portions of England. Lines of thunderstorms developing along an occluded front, and Alex, provides fantastic explanation as to the thunderstorms, the process in which they developed, the back building explanation, and whatnot. So I just wanted to recommend. I will leave a link in the description below today's video for the deep dive. Yes, he also mentioned about the 27.4 that was recorded at Blackpool. That was, I believe, Blackpool's second, according to him anyway, it was Blackpool's second warmest May day, and also the warmest for Blackpool since back to 2023. I think it was September 2023, the last time they recorded a temperature as high as they did back on Monday. Also, obviously, it was a notch up yesterday afternoon in two locations in Western Scotland for the warmest day of the year so far. 25.5 Celsius was achieved at both Tyndrum in Stirlingshire and down in Auchencruivy in South Ayrshire. So that was the warmest day for Scotland this year so far yesterday. And we are seeing some significant changes in terms of sunlight here across the north. We were, draped under a blanket of har yesterday, thanks to an east-southeasterly wind that was driving the marine influence up through both the Murray Firth, the Cromarty Firth, and the Dornoch Firth, basically encasing these coastal areas with har, suppressing the temperature as a result. Winds have now veered more northeasterly, and it's essentially just completely clear skies. Beautiful conditions indeed. The temperatures are up a notch, but they're still subdued because of the onshore breeze that is influencing the temperature. We're actually seeing a slight notch down in temperature compared to what we've seen back yesterday. So current temperatures at the time we're recording, which is just after 3 p.m. on this Wednesday afternoon, you can see here again 11, 12, 13 Celsius, anywhere from Norfolk all the way up to Caithness, thanks to that northeasterly breeze. The warmest temperatures, the further west and south you go over the UK, we're still holding on to 22, 23, probably a 24, 25 across parts of the south of the UK, and possibly a 21, 22 in Western Scotland, but down considerably from yesterday's temperatures of the mid-20s due to the wind veering rather than being from east-southeast, which drives the warming, and even an element of Fern effect in the West Highlands, for example. We've seen the winds more coming in from a northeasterly direction, so that is introducing something a little bit fresher, both in the mid-levels as well as the low levels of the atmosphere. It's the same story across Ireland as well, 13, 14 Celsius in coastal Down and Antrim. We're talking about 2021 in Tyrone, Fermanagh, and then the western side of the Republic of Ireland as well. We're seeing those warm temperatures. We do have changes coming up, by the way. The question mark is going to be when those changes come. Now, this is an interesting tweet here by James Peacock. More widely unsettled weather will surely affect the UK again someday. The question being how soon. And the overnight, this is a tweet from about 5 hours ago. The overnight ECM ensemble shows that 45% say not before the 25th of May, 35% not before the 23rd, and 20% say not before the 23rd in the north and 24th in the south. Now, if we look at this graphic here by the GFS, this is the latest operational run here. And again, high pressure anchored to the north, hence why we've got the northeasterly winds. We are going to see the temperatures creep up, by the way, over the next few days once again. But you can see here that by the time we reach around about Thursday next week, still a long way off, This looks to be, according to this latest run of the GFS, the day that the change takes place. You notice here that we've got an area of low pressure moving in off the Atlantic, and that really sets the tone to a much more aggressive flip around in the pressure pattern. You can see here a 993 millibar low. We've got snow over the Highlands, for example. We've got heavy rain coming in from the south into the southern UK. Wind, rain, hill snow, and distinctly autumnal feel to the conditions here. This would be a very dramatic change compared to what we have seen of late. So that's off the GFS run here. Let's have a quick look then at the ECMWF and see what it's indicating. Not a whole lot. If you notice, we do have some subtle changes. The high's now slipped down to the southwest. We've got weather coming in over the top of that high by the time we reach Thursday into Friday, and then eventually you can see the change taking place around Saturday next weekend here. So this is still, well over a week away. We're only on Wednesday. You're likely talking about Thursday at the earliest next week. So we're still talking about 8 days of essentially high pressure dominance and little to no rain to speak about. So speaking about rain, let's have a quick look at the total accumulated rainfall between now and, say, the end of Thursday next week. Very few places are picking up any rain at all. You can see here, once again, story of the entire spring so far. Wet weather focused across Spain, southern France, and right across the south of Europe, into the Balkans, Eastern Europe, etc., etc. So we are going to maintain this overall dry theme. So let's look specifically at the UK and see if it's picking up on much up until the end of Thursday. It's picking up on a millimetre or two eastern areas of the UK here, but generally high and dry. And then as we move into the day on Friday, you're starting to see the wet weather start to become a little bit more established, and this would certainly be an interesting change around. Certainly the gardens are needing it big time, and it looks as if the modelling is printing out through that final 5 to 7 days of the month a reasonable amount of rain. Some places probably picking up 50 plus millimetres, especially in upslope elevated areas of Wales, northwest England, Western Ireland, Northern Ireland, Western Scotland. Even Eastern Scotland's picking up on 30 plus millimetres over the higher ground of Aberdeenshire and Caithness and Sutherland as well. Wanted to show you another couple of interesting things that I've seen. This was a beautiful imagery here of the this is from Gwisby. It's probably the wrong pronunciation. I do apologise. That's probably very insulting, but I think he's based in Stornoway on the Outer Hebrides. Shows these terrific visible satellite images. This was from this morning, by the way, and there's that bank. Essentially, that's that. I think this is the residual effects of that har that was affecting the north of Scotland throughout the course of yesterday. Was with the winds changing, it kind of started to just kind of peel away and erode that marine influence through the Dornoch, the Cromarty, and the Murray Firth. Now it's getting pushed further south, and we're cleaning the air out big time, and we're seeing the beautiful sunshine return once again. Now, another interesting thing, it looks as if the monsoon going a completely different way altogether here. Looks as if the monsoon may have began early. It's been declared by the Indian Meteorological Department, and it is earlier than what you would typically see. You don't normally see it at the beginning to the middle portions of May, and this essentially means that the onset of the 2025 monsoon has now been declared by the Indian Met Service here, and it looks as if it's going to be a wetter than normal monsoon coming up. So these are the temperatures, by the way, yesterday. Again, moving back to the UK and Ireland, I bounced around. I do apologise about that, and I probably will before the end of this video, by the way. Auchincruive, 25.5. Tyndrum was the same. We had a 25.5 at Sundon Downham, 25.6 at Porthmadog in northwest Wales. We had a 23.5 in Castlederg as well. So certainly there is a lot of things going on. I know it's high and dry, but I'm continuing to look at the big broad picture, see what type of weather we are dealing with and looking at going forward. And we're going to, again, look at the month of June coming up in the days ahead as well. The summer season and the summer forecast is well in progress now in terms of building the ideas, constructing the written article, and I'm excited to deliver that a week on Sunday at 4 p.m. in the live stream. It's amazing to think that we're already there almost with the 2025 summer season. But anyway, I'm kind of slightly stalling here. I'm bringing up the GFS ensemble. This is the pattern as it evolves here. We've got an area of low pressure that affected the southern UK and Ireland back at the beginning of the working week. That is now getting forced further south as the high rebuilds to the north of the UK and Ireland. As that high kind of starts to slip down over the UK, by the way, we are going to see a chilly night. Clear skies, light winds widely across many areas of the UK. Therefore, with just a slight less warmth within the atmosphere today, that will allow some stronger radiational cooling to take place during the overnight period tonight. So we are going to see pockets of frost likely, temperatures in some rural sheltered areas down close to the freezing mark. Then as the sun gets going early tomorrow morning, we're going to see the temperatures respond very nicely. But with lighter winds and with that abundant sunshine, we are going to see the temperatures coming up. We're going to go back towards the mid-20s, even in the central belt of Scotland, for example, over the next few days as that high kind of just builds over the top of the UK. Then as we continue to play through this loop, you start to see the subtle changes taking place as the high then starts to weaken, peels away. You've got the trough coming in from mainland Europe here. This is the upper levels, by the way. We are going to see areas of low pressure, mid and low levels coming in off the Atlantic, but we're seeing a trough developing over the west of Europe here as we move towards late next week. I think it looks as if Thursday, Friday is the time frame to watch for that change taking place. And the question mark is going to be, do we see the high rebuild once again after this? Is it going to be like a pre-Easter blip and the return to the high pressure, or are we going to see a more fundamental change? Looking at the CFSV2 weeklies then, upcoming week looks like this here. So dominant high pressure, northwestern Europe, including the UK. Deep trough over eastern portions of Europe. That is delivering some unusual weather, by the way, into southeastern Europe. And this is week 2. So you can see here again, relatively, still slightly above average pressure over the UK and Ireland. Let's have a quick look at the previous run here and see what it's indicating. This is week 2. Then into week 3, we've got this lower pressure moving into the UK. And then week 3, which are 4, is this week 3 or 4? Can't remember. 4th of June through the 11th of June. We'll see this kind of weakness in the pressure field over Ireland, over southwestern UK, the strongest heights the further north and northeast you go. So, wanted to show you this here. This was the scene, by the way, in parts of Turkey back around about, this was 3 hours ago. So this was today. This is the highest elevations, granted, by the way. We are high up, but this was the scenes in parts of high elevation Turkey this afternoon or this morning, I don't know which. So deep snow caused issues on high road routes across parts of Turkey. So yeah, pretty amazing stuff actually to see that taking place. Have I mentioned everything that I needed to mention? Yeah, also interesting tweet here. This is back on the 13th. This is by Miloš Milic, based in Serbia, talking about some unusually cold mid-May temperatures. In town down to -3 Celsius. So yeah, near May records, mid-May records for parts of the Balkan region, due to that deep trough digging into eastern portions of Europe. So I think that is it for today. Let's have a very quick look at the current temperatures across Europe as a whole. And you can see here relatively mild conditions, even across eastern portions of Europe here. But look at Western Europe here. We're talking about generally low to mid-20s across the majority of France, Low Countries, into Germany, into the far south of the UK, a little bit fresher the further north you go. If we look at the pressure chart, you can see the reasons why that centre of high pressure to the north means we're pulling in our winds off the Atlantic. A reasonably long fetch of northeasterly winds means that we're cooling down that eastern and northern side of the UK here, keeping the temperatures a little bit more subdued. There's that trough over the eastern side of the continent. Minimum temperatures this morning, we did have a little bit of cooler conditions across pockets of central and eastern portions of the continent. Looking at the visible satellite imagery here, and this is how the continent is looking. So we're generally sunny across the majority of Switzerland, Austria, Czech Republic, much of Germany, the Low Countries, UK, Ireland, all generally in the sunshine this afternoon. We've got some thunderstorms over the Iberian Peninsula and the Mediterranean. We've also got an area of low pressure that's been bringing heavy rainfall to parts of Algeria and Tunisia, by the way, over the last couple of days. So anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Do stick around. I also want to say a massive thank you. I've noticed there's been a bit of an uptick in subscribers in recent times. So if you're new to the channel, I hope you're enjoying the content. Leave a comment, and also if you haven't already done so, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It is greatly appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow, all being well, with more. Bye for now.